Am I the a-hole for what I, 24 male, said to my sister, 27 female, about minding her business? This happened a while ago and I'm still getting grief for it. So I think I know your answer, but maybe some explanation will help. So, around 6 months ago, my fiancée, who I was with for around 7 years, but were friends before that, left me because she realized she never loved me and that I was holding her back. She was not interested in therapy. And I am not in the habit of begging someone to stay, so I helped her pack and dropped her off at a hotel, which is what she wanted and where she asked to be left. About a month ago, she called me crying in the middle of the night to say that she had made a mistake and wanted to come home. I had promptly hung up on her because I also firmly believe in the rule, don't let them tell you they don't want you more than once. Apparently, my family didn't get the memo because for a while after that, my family, particularly the older women, had been pressuring me to hear her out. And even going so far as to tell me her side of the story and how she had a breakdown and it didn't have anything to do with me. Blah, blah, blah. Don't buy it. My sister recently called me out of the blue and started talking to me about how I don't want to be the reason for anything bad, so I should call and talk to my ex. I tried to brush it off, but she kept saying things like, well, you don't want it to be your fault is all I'm saying, and stuff like that. I didn't like what she was implying, so I admit I snapped and said something not so nice. Something kinda like, maybe you should worry about your own relationship. I mean, God knows it takes all of your mental fortitude to keep your pants on. Which is bad, because her first 2 marriages ended due to cheating on her end. After a moment, she started crying on the phone and kept saying, I can't believe you would say that, and that's so cruel. You don't know what I went through. I replied something like, and that's why I usually stay out of it. You know, try to mind my business. Apparently, that isn't even close to the same thing. And since then, I've been getting yelled at by all the women in the family. But at least the ex talk has stopped. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You are not responsible for anything bad happening. She got exactly what she asked of you. To tell someone you've been living life with for 7 years that you never loved them and they were holding you back is pretty powerful. I'm sorry wouldn't fix that broken trust for me. I would not be surprised if she already had a backup plan, that plan being another person, and it didn't work out. Now she realizes she took her life for granted and ended a good thing. If this was your sister's first attempt at sticking her toe into the situation, I can see why she's so taken aback. But it sounds like all the women in your family are acting as a team, so she knew what she was getting herself into. Exes blamed her exes for why she cheated on them. She's also blaming Opie for ex leaving him, not the a-hole. Ex made her choice. Opie wants to move on. End of story. If there is an insinuation that the ex would harm herself, then you need to tell your sister to call 911. Not you. Not the a-hole. I'm of the opinion you should call every time someone tries to use that line to manipulate you, even if you know they'd never do it. Hopefully getting the cops involved enough times will make them cut that nonsense out. I can just imagine the sister spluttering over the line if Opie was like, wait, really? I'm gonna call the cops because I'm afraid she'll hurt herself. It's effective. Had a friend keep someone on the phone while their mom called the police in another state. Because if it is real, they need help. If it's manipulative, then they made their bed. Yep, my ex did this to me, in writing, the day before a divorce proceeding. I responded with a link to a mental health line, told her she should call them if she felt like hurting herself, and called her sister and related. And said, I'm done with it. It's on you. I'm not getting involved. Printed out the transcript and had it for the judge to see. Ex had a restraining order out against her for assaulting me, and we made a nice record of her manipulation on the record in court. Sadly, it didn't move the judge in the least, but I did get a formal, I was only doing it for attention, and a good, don't do it again or I will move for full custody of the children. It was a regular part of our interaction for many years. Been over a year now and not a peep. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not moving on fast enough for my late fiancé? I, 27 female, have twins, 3 male and 3 female. For my late fiancé, I'll call him Noah. Noah and I met when we were 16 and got engaged when we were about 24. And shortly after, we found out that I was pregnant. However, Noah died in a car accident not too long after. This wrecked me and both of our families, since we had been together for so long and they had watched us grow up together. Noah was his mom's only child and she had him at a young age, so they were very close. The whole family helped raise Noah when he was young, and when Noah and I started dating, we always had our weekly dinners with just the three of us. His mom and I became really close, and even closer after Noah's death. Her and I continued those weekly dinners, and I included the twins when they came along. My current boyfriend of 10 months, I'll call him Rick, has recently told me that he doesn't like how close I am with Noah's mom. He doesn't like our weekly dinners and thinks that only the twins should go. He doesn't like that I still have pictures of Noah and I in my house. Rick doesn't live with me and the twins, just spends nights, and doesn't want me going on vacation with Noah's mom and her family. I've been going on vacation with Noah's mom and her family since I was 16, and I continued to go even after Noah's death, with the twins. It never really came across my mind to stop going, because I love Noah's mom, and the twins love spending a week at a beach with her grandmother and the rest of the family. I told him that the pictures stay, because he doesn't live here, and the twins love looking at the pictures of their dad. Then I told him that it's too late to back out of the vacation, and that I enjoy spending time with Noah and his family. He then told me that I'm not a part of Noah's family, so I have no reason to go, and that I'll never be part of the family because Noah and I never married. I was taken aback by this, and told him to get out. I called my parents and told them what happened, and to my surprise, they agreed with him. They believe that I need to start pulling away from Noah's family, because again, I'm not a part of it, and I never will be. They said that I don't need to be rude to them or anything, but I shouldn't be going on vacations, having dinners with his mom, or going to family gatherings, and that I need to start a new chapter of my life, one where Noah and his family aren't in it, because I'm taking too long to move on from Noah. Then Rick texted me, saying to contact him when I'm actually ready to be in a relationship with someone who isn't Noah. I really don't know what to make of this. I thought I moved on enough. I know that Noah and I will never be married, and I've accepted that. I just still see his mom as a mother figure because I've known her for so long and the twins love her. She was one of the only people who knew how I felt when Noah died, and I don't know what I would do without her. Am I the a-hole? I'm not a part of Noah's family. Yes, you are. You're mother to the grandchildren of her dead son. Pretty much family in my book. Not the a-hole. Thank you. I've always viewed them as my family, but this whole situation had me second-guessing that. They will always be family, Opie, at least as long as you allow them to be part of the twins' lives. They will always be present and will interact with you and the children. Is there any reason why your parents resent them so much they want to make you cut contact with your children's family? How would they feel if they were the family being kicked out of your twins' life? I guess they won't care because they are not family and will never be. Rick is a jealous, controlling a-hole. Please be careful when he is around your kids and what he tells them. Only 10 months dating and demands you to cut contact with family is a big red flag, but whatever. Not the a-hole, Opie. But please, for your children, don't deprive them of a healthy relationship with people who knew their dad and loves them a lot. You and Noah would still be together except this horrible tragedy. Not the a-hole, and I would move on from Rick. Thank you. I don't think I'll be contacting Rick anytime soon. Don't contact him ever again. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not waking up my boyfriend for work in time, even though I could? My 29 female boyfriend, 35 male, has been living with me since he landed his first engineering job 2 months ago. I have been the one to wake him up several times when I notice he's sleeping in. He has his first alarm at 7, then one at 7:10. He has to leave at 7:45 max if he wants to get to his workplace by 8 a.m. I work from home. I'm a freelancer, so I have no need to wake up that early. On the times I realized he hasn't moved from bed and it's past 7:30, he would really get mad when I woke him up, yelling, "Why didn't you wake me up sooner?" Today I woke up at 7 a.m. by his alarm clock as we sleep together. He woke up, turned it off, and went back to sleep like he usually does until the 7:10 alarm. Then he turned off the 7:10 alarm and went back to sleep again. I wasn't really paying attention to the time, but I was using my phone as some clients were texting me already. I kept looking at my boyfriend from time to time, and he would open his eyes at me, smile and nod, then close his eyes again. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I checked the time, and it was already 7:37. I look at him calmly. He smiles, and I ask, "Do you know what time it is?" To which he answered, "Probably 7:25 or so." Then he took his phone and saw it was 7:37 and rushed off to the bathroom, slamming the door. As he was putting his clothes on, he was arguing, "It's an a-hole move of yours to not tell me what time earlier. Because of that, I'm going to be late and will leave without even brushing my teeth." I told him that I didn't mean to make him angry, but that being on time for his work isn't my responsibility. To which he said, "If you are awake and capable of helping out, but you decide not to, then you are an a-hole. I get that we are a couple and should help each other, and he's the one paying for all the food and half the bills. So the last thing I want is for him to lose his job because of tardiness." I was not troubled about being an a-hole until the moment he retaliated back at me in a pretty nasty way. Before leaving for work in a rush, he blew his nose on my favorite towel, leaving boogers on it, and said, "You have that white towel on a bathroom to make it look pretty, right?" He's in general a very good partner, so I was appalled that he would retaliate like that, which made me rethink if I should just keep waking him up if he sleeps in, as I'm already awake and I'm capable of doing it. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. He is an adult and is capable of getting out of bed on time. I would tell him if he ever retaliates in such a disgusting manner again, that he will be packing his bags and leaving. That is not acceptable behavior under any circumstances. He is punishing you for his inability to get himself up on time. This type of abusive behavior will escalate. He is teaching you that you will be very sorry if you don't do what he wants. This is definitely a hill I would die on. I ain't nobody's mama. If you can't manage to hold down a job without me holding your hand, we'd be done. Not the a-hole. He's snapping at you and blaming you for his childish behavior. You didn't sign up to be his mommy. When your alarm goes off, you get up. You don't put the burden of waking you up on your partner. Boyfriend is an a-hole. I have a really hard time getting up in the morning, so I also have to set multiple alarms. But I'd never get mad at someone for waking me up too late, because that's my fault. I'd be happy they didn't let me sleep in any later. Is he 35 or 12? Cause he sounds like a child. I just leave him sleeping until he wakes up. If he wants to get fired, that's his choice. There's a morning I hate my alarm, but get my butt out of bed anyway because I'm an adult and I have to work. Even my 6-year-old wouldn't retaliate this way. He has no respect for her. Last story. Am I the a-hole for letting my pregnant fiancée think I'm cheating on her? My fiancée Jen is insecure right now, given that she's 32 weeks pregnant. I still think she's beautiful no matter what, but telling her that makes no difference. Now, for the past 6 years, we have been basically inseparable. I actually enjoy her company, to a point of me not really enjoying going out without her. She's fun, and she makes my night way better by having her around. We also are very open with communication and we aren't blind, so we will 100% tell each other when we find someone else attractive. Well, given this detail, I may have messed up a bit, because I told Jen that I thought my buddy's girlfriend was gorgeous and had nice hips. That is not an uncommon comment for the record. It was merely bad timing because she is pregnant and insecure. I shouldn't have said anything, but again, we have always talked like this to each other, so I just wasn't thinking. I mean, just 2 months ago, she pointed out some very attractive man and said he has arms that could toss her around a bedroom. Lol. Neither of us act on anything like this. It's all talk, and sometimes leads to extra spicy time. That's all. But anyways, I made a comment about my buddy's girlfriend and she agreed with me at first, but it soon fell apart. See, I go to my buddy's house quite often and she's always invited, but she's been declining because of being uncomfortable. The baby is on her sciatic nerve, or saying she doesn't want to really be around people because she feels gross. But she did go with me 2 days ago, and I guess I let my eyes wander a bit and she noticed, which I didn't. She asked me to bring her home and was being super quiet. And when I get it out of her, she say, "You told me she's gorgeous and has nice hips. And then you guys eyeing each other in front of me." I asked what she was talking about, and she openly said, "Are you sleeping with her? 'Cause you're there a lot." So I said, "Don't be silly. Of course not." I drop her off. She tells me to go have fun, so I go back. When I get home, she was in bed and distant. I ask what's wrong, and she said, "You just left me here thinking you are cheating, and go back to hang out with her with zero qualms. She wasn't there when I got back." I said, "You told me to go back and have fun, babe. I didn't realize you were serious." She says, "As if you didn't realize I was serious," and turns to go to bed. Now I'm feeling incredibly stupid, but I don't even know what to say to her. It's tense in my house. Am I the a-hole? I'm gonna give you a life pro tip from someone who's been married for 15 years. When she says, "Do what you want to do or go have fun," it's not giving permission. It's a dare. Partner, go have fun. Narrator, sensing danger. The man absolutely does not go and have fun. It was indeed a trap, one that only the most unwary would fall into. My dude, if your wife's upset, prioritize making her not upset, especially when she's pregnant with your child. I drop her off. She tells me to go have fun, so I go back there. When I got home, she was in bed, distant. I said, "You told me to go back and have fun, babe. I didn't realize you were serious." Are you serious right now? I truly can't tell. She's not mad at you because she's pregnant and insecure. She's both of those things right now, but that's not why she's mad. She's mad because she was upset. And instead of trying to make things better, you went back and prioritized your own fun. She told you to leave because your presence made her upset, but your absence would make her more upset. Learn these things. You're going to be a dad, so prioritize your family. You're the a-hole. Yeah, Opie. I would explain to her that you posted here and definitely learned some perspective, that you love her a bunch and you were being super dense and a moron. You two seem solid and comfortable with each other, so once she sees that you know your thought process was stupid, this would be salvageable. You're the a-hole. Do better. Am I the a-hole for refusing to speak to my mom after 35 years of no contact now that she's old? Okay, so I, 56 female, have been total no contact with my mother for 35 years because she married 8 times, had 6 kids, all different fathers, and parentified me since I was 10. She allowed violations to happen to all 3 of us girls, and actually told me to "shut up, he didn't hurt you" when she walked in and saw it happening to me. She lied about who my father was, and I didn't find out until I was 50 and did one of those DNA tests. I am the only child that went to college and made a life for myself. The others are druggies. So, I got a Facebook message from her oldest one, the one that did a crime she saw, saying I need to pitch in to take care of her, since she's not doing well. So, my anxiety is off the charts. I need to say that they all live in the Southwest, and I live on the East Coast. I replied that if he contacted me again, I would call the police. Now the sisters are trying to get me to take her in as "you have a big place and money." I haven't spoken to my siblings in over a decade. I told them that they had no idea what is going on in my life, so kick rocks. So am I the a-hole for continuing my no contact with them all? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Just read the title and I'm already at nope. And now that I read half of it, hell to the no. Block everyone. Move, change your name, dye your hair, consider plastic surgery, and never ever do a publicly available DNA test. So you already did a DNA test. Your best bet is a pack of angry Jack Russell Terriers guarding the perimeter of your home. OMG, you made me laugh so hard. Thank you. I have vicious Yorkies and lots of pew-pews. Not a-hole. That sounds awful. I'm so sorry. You don't owe them anything. It sounds like you know that intellectually, but it's getting to you emotionally, which makes total sense. I would suggest not only blocking them, but maybe talking to a counselor and getting some extra support. Hearing from them sounds like it's bringing up old trauma. Having some extra support can help you stay strong and stay in no contact when they try to guilt you, as you know they will, and hopefully will also give you longer-term peace. I wish you the best. Thank you. I have been in therapy for a number of years. I moved across the country 7 years ago because I couldn't get the siblings to respect boundaries. Best thing I ever did. I haven't let myself make friends here yet, but maybe soon. Thanks again. I'm so sorry your family sucks. Good for you for putting physical distance between you all. Please, please do not feel guilty. Your feelings are pangs of hurt over what you never had. Feel them, remember the loss of your childhood and bio family, and move on without guilt. We Reddit strangers totally support you. Your mental health is so important. Not the a-hole. Why were they not all blocked? Hadn't heard from any of them in 10 years because I had blocked them. But some idiot showed them how to make new accounts because none of them are smart enough to do it on their own. Lol. Not the a-hole. My partner comes from an insanely abusive and toxic family, his mother being the root of all evil. He once told his therapist that he feels bad for not talking to her because she's getting old. His therapist asked him if he thought her aging erased all that she had done. Obviously, it had not. He said just because someone is old doesn't mean they automatically become a better person or regret all the damage they had done. It just means they're old. Just keep blocking. You don't owe any of them anything. Now for the mini update. Okay, folks, hope this is the way to update. I decided to do what like 100% of what y'all said. I sent a group email to the lot of them, telling them that I would not be engaging in their theatrics. They could figure out what to do with Mommy Dearest, and I will not be a part of their solution. I said I will be blocking all of them, and if they contacted me in any way, shape, or form, law enforcement would be contacted. Then just for good measure, I told them all to buzz all the way off, and have the day you deserve. Thanks everyone for reaffirming what I knew was right. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cater for my sister's wedding after she ghosted me for 5 years? I'm male 33, I'm a professional chef and own a successful upscale restaurant in my city. My younger sister, female 29, and I used to be best of friends until 5 years back when we had a falling out over a minor issue. She lent a prized book of mine to her friend without asking me, and it came back in a state of disrepair. The disagreement spiraled into a fight and she cut me off completely, refusing to communicate with me despite my numerous attempts to apologize and fix things. 3 weeks back, out of nowhere, I received a call from her. My joy was short-lived when she quickly got to her point. She was getting married and wanted me to cater her wedding, for free. Moreover, her request was not merely to provide a main course, but also specialized gourmet meal options for her cosmopolitan guest list. A task that involves a lot of work and money. I've felt a pang of hurt. It felt incredibly selfish and hurtful that after 5 years of silence, she contacted me for a favor, an expensive one at that. Hence, I declined, telling her that while I was happy about her upcoming nuptials, it was unfair of her to expect me to invest so much of my time, resources, and expertise for free, especially after the way she treated me. Now my parents are upset with me, saying that it's been long and I should have forgiven her. They think I'm being vengeful and using this opportunity to get back at her. But honestly, I'm just deeply hurt. Am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. She didn't call to make amends. She hasn't apologized. She called for expensive freebies. If she wanted to make amends, she would have apologized and offered to pay for what she was requesting. Remind your parents that this isn't you getting back at her, but refusing to pay X out of pocket for someone who is now a stranger. Mom and Dad are on your case because they don't want to get stuck with a catering bill. Hold firm. Nowhere in there does OP say that he's even actually invited to the wedding. Sis definitely sounds like the kind of a-hole who would tell him that he's there as a caterer, not a guest. If you're catering it, you basically can't attend. Maybe toward the end of the reception, when the rest of the staff is only doing cleanup. But the amount of prep beforehand probably rules out both the wedding and most of the reception. Thanks, I really appreciate this answer. Thinking about the next steps. Might try talking to my parents and sister. If you happen to make it to that wedding, apologize to her partner for me, because your sister sounds like an entitled nightmare. She didn't even try to sugarcoat the request, and on top of that is actively trying to take advantage of you and your success. This request goes beyond forgive and forget. I could understand if the agreement was to pay for the cost of ingredients and utilities, and maybe excluding your time. But to suggest what is probably hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, is simply outrageous. Imagine if you did this for free. I'd bet just about anything to say, she immediately goes back to radio silence. You are not the a-hole. Stay strong and hold on, OP. Don't give in and stick to your guns. Good luck. She didn't even try to sugarcoat the request. Yes, because in her head, she is kind of doing the first move and giving him the opportunity to apologize by doing this. That's how entitled people work. Not the a-hole. Not sure how her destroying your prized book makes you the bad guy, but the fact she thought she would guilt you into doing this for free is hilarious. Tell your parents you will do it if they pay you for it. Full price now. no discount. If they agree, then go ahead and do it. Otherwise, do not feel bad at all. Also would not go to the wedding. And the payment before the wedding. If you let it after, I bet they will not pay you. I wouldn't even allow her in the restaurant or her party. She'll probably destroy something else. I'm sorry that she's using you, but I wouldn't help her. And tell your parents to mind their business. They're not the ones having to shell out the cost, and the only reason they're pushing for it, so they can get it for free. Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying I am not an aunt? I, 30 female, have no contact with my older brother, 34 male, or his wife, 28 female, and have not done for over a year. For around 3 years prior to that, our relationship was only upsetting. No matter what I did or said, his wife would claim I was behaving rudely or maliciously and would scream and cry until I apologized. My brother, her parents, and her brother contacted me over the years to explain this was how she related to girls. Screaming and crying and reconciling afterwards was her way to be close to girls, and I was urged many times to play along and accept this about her, because over time we would become close from it. But it got to the point where it was unbearable. Every message and interaction with her is exhausting, and she delighted in putting me down in front of other people. My brother absolutely enabled this and made everything worse. In fact, the final straw was him secretly recording a conversation we had where he asked me some deeply personal questions. At the time, I thought he was trying to be vulnerable together to mend our relationship, and I caught him playing the recording to her as they both laughed at me. I got a job opportunity far away and jumped at it, making going no contact suddenly much easier, and have not spoken to either of them since. They have also not tried to contact me since I moved. They recently had a child, something I only know about because my mom told me, and she has begun pestering me to visit them and send gifts/messages. I have tried to say no thank you, and even explained if they reached out, I would respond, but I am not interested in initiating contact. But every conversation I have with her now begins and ends with, "You are an aunt now, you need to act like it," or some variation. So today I said, I am not an aunt. I am not in this baby's life in any way. And she was really upset with me. She asked me if I was rejecting her grandchild, which of course I am not. She is welcome to have a relationship with whoever she wants and be as involved as she wants. But I am not in this baby's life, as an aunt or otherwise, and I don't see that changing in the future, honestly. The conversation only soured from there, with her insisting that if I refuse to accept I am an aunt, then I am claiming she is not a grandmother. She's now not speaking to me and insists I'm being unnecessarily hurtful and creating sadness in a time that should be happy. I really don't think of myself as an aunt at all, but I'm now wondering if it was cruel to voice that thought. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. You are not the a-hole, but you might need to consider going no contact with your mother as well. It seems like it's not only your brother enabling your sister-in-law's weird behavior, but also your own mother. What has your father to say about all this? Do you have any other siblings? I have 2 other younger brothers who both think she is nutty, but she adores them, so they have a civil relationship. She constantly makes posts about how she loves them and calls them little/big brother, never their names. The only time she got upset with them directly, as far as I know, was when they refused to call her big sister in return. But about a week later, she acted like nothing had happened and never brought it up again. Her own brother told me she just knows how to be close to boys better than girls, and that is why she gets on well with them. I have never asked them to get involved, but my youngest brother has had arguments with our oldest one over her behavior a few times. It just never goes anywhere. But he does not speak to her directly anymore, just through my brother, and only sees her at family functions because of how she treats me. He has, however, gone to visit the baby, and it was the first time he went to their house. My parents are divorced, but my dad is on my side. He was the one who told me to cut them both out of my life. He actually took them out for a meal and discussion over it, right before I left, to get a feel of the situation and see how we could fix everything. But he told me afterwards there was nothing to be done, because they seemed to enjoy the whole situation. He said to him, it seems they like having an outside person to blame things on, and I was just unlucky to be chosen for that role. Oh wow, this is just so messed up. Sorry to say it, but this is truly good riddance. But looking at this, it might be that your older brother and sister-in-law are pressuring your mother into making you come to see the baby by restricting her access to the baby. I can't see a different explanation for her being so desperately connecting you not wanting to be an aunt to her being a grandmother. It's good that you are not completely alone and still have your father and younger brothers as support in this matter. I hope your bond with them will stay strong and wish you the best for the future. Stay strong. I actually did not consider that she was being pressured by them in some way. I always assumed they never spoke about me at all, so thank you for that perspective. If it is true and they are holding her time with a baby at ransom until I comply, then I can understand why my comments upset her so much. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not entering a queue for the second time when my girlfriend gave her food away to a homeless man? I, 24 male, was out with my girlfriend, 25 female tonight, and we were in the city center. It was crowded, and the queues for everything were extremely long. There was a food truck that sold tacos that she really wanted to try. The queue was very long, and she gets tired quickly, so she sat on a bench while I waited for in line to get her tacos. After about 30 minutes of standing in line, I got her tacos and we started walking to a nearby restaurant to get myself some dinner too, before we head home. On the way, there was a homeless man sitting down in the street, and before I know it, she diverted towards him to hand him her food. I thought that was quite sweet actually, and we continued walking, until she asked if we could go back and get more tacos, because she actually really wanted them, and didn't want food from where I was getting mine. I said the line is even longer now than when we left it, and I can't just stand in line for over 30 minutes again. I said she can pick a restaurant and we'll go get food there, but she insisted that she had those tacos in her mind all week, and she really wants them. I said the line was even longer by the time we left, and it wouldn't make sense for us to go back, and for me to stand there all over again for those tacos. She said she'll compromise, and stand there till she gets tired then we can switch, which would have been maybe 10 minutes. I said I'm already tired and fed up because of the extremely long day I had, and I would really appreciate if she doesn't push this and we can get them next weekend. She said, I didn't ask you to go to war, you know. All you have to do is stand there. So I said, if it's nothing, you won't need me for it, and you can stand in line yourself. She didn't say a word to me the whole way home. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You stood in line once. While her thought in reaching out and offering her food was kind, that doesn't give her an expectation of you standing in the line again. She should maybe look at it as her own sacrifice for helping someone who was hungry. This right here, she didn't really think that through. It's highly inappropriate that she asked him to get her more tacos after she gave hers away. Yeah, this kind of feels like someone donating money to a charity but using their daddy's credit card to pay. Sometimes I wonder if people type out a whole story of something they think is about themselves. I don't see all the underlying red flags about their significant other's character they revealed. Not the a-hole. She could have stood in the line herself or picked something else. Yeah, she can stand in the line again while Opie gets his food, and they'll maybe be done at relatively the same time. I suggested this actually, but she said she physically cannot stand for that entire time on her own, and she'll need to sit after a while, so I need to be there. Not the a-hole. You don't get to inconvenience other people for your good deed. Thank you. I've been in this situation before, and it sucks. I even started to question my acquaintance with that person because they got me in this situation far more often than I'd prefer. And the worst thing is, I started to believe I was a bad person for not helping someone help someone else. Am I the a-hole for evicting my roommates after buying the condo we rented together? I live in a small condo, about 600 square feet, with my roommate Caitlin. We didn't know each other before moving in. She rents the bigger room and I rent the smaller one. Our landlord told us she wants to sell the condo, and I jumped in on the opportunity to buy it. She sold it to me almost 15% below market price, so it's great. I already gave her the deposit and we will sign the papers in a few days. Then the condo will be mine 3 months from now. After me giving our landlord a deposit, Caitlin was ecstatic. She brought a champagne to celebrate, told me I'm the best, and that she will save so much money from now on by not having to pay rent. I don't know where she got this idea from, and I thought our landlord already told her how long she has until she has to move out, but it seems not. I told Caitlin that it's a small condo and don't need a roommate anymore. She will have to move out in 3 months, but I'd gladly help her look for a new place. She flipped out. She asked me if I seriously want to evict her and throw her out on the street. She said she thought we were friends, and if she had the money to buy the place, she would have let me stay for free because that's what decent people do. Then she switched and started bargaining with me that I can have the bigger room and she will stay in the small room. She won't bother much, and so on. I feel a bit guilty. I really thought it was given that she will have to move out. Maybe I should have told Caitlin before giving the deposit to our landlord. I feel sorry for her. I know she doesn't make a lot of money, but at 26, I don't want to live in a small room anymore, especially if I own a condo. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Our landlord told us that she will put the condo on the market in a few weeks, but we don't have to worry. She will tell the new owner that she won't give over the keys right away, so we have enough time to look for a new place. We are month to month. I didn't think Caitlin would think she didn't have to move out anymore, just because I'm the one who bought the condo. As for the legal issues, where we live, there is no such thing as a lease continuing with a new owner. I can't evict Caitlin because I'm not the one she has a contract with. Her lease is with the current landlord, and landlord has to give Caitlin a written notification, which seems like she hasn't done yet. I'm still buying the house. In my first edit, I explained what our landlord told us 2 weeks ago. She first announced that she will sell soon and we will need to move out. Then I talked to her and eventually made an offer. Now for the top comments. She immediately assumed she wouldn't have to pay rent? Why? To me, this would have been a conversation of if I would then pay rent to you, or if I should start looking for a place. You gave her ample time to find a new place and offered to help look. Not the a-hole. That's the part I don't understand either. Pretty entitled for someone to assume that they won't have to pay rent somewhere. I hope he's not the a-hole at all. Right. I would have at least assumed I'd still have to pay the same rent. I am disturbed that Caitlin first thought was that she would live rent-free. That is incredibly entitled. Did she think you got it for free? If you want to do a nice gesture, you could help her look for a new place or help her pay for movers, etc., depending on the severity of her financial situation. But you are not entitled to keep her as a roommate, nor should you feel an ounce of regret for doing what is right for you. Congratulations on your new place. Not the a-hole. Not only did she expect that she'd stay rent-free, but she initially expected to keep everything the same, with her in the larger room. The audacity. Not the a-hole. Once you have officially bought the condo, find a good landlord lawyer and legally notify her of how long she has to stay. If she stays beyond that, you will have to evict her, and having a lawyer to do it properly is important. Be careful that she doesn't do any damage to the place. Also, make sure the landlord gives you the security deposit both she and you paid. You will have to return her portion. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for being mad at my fat roommate who has been wearing my clothes and completely ruining them? Recently, I have been noticing that any new clothes I get are becoming less tight and looser a few days after first purchasing them. It was making me doubt myself if I was the reason for that, like maybe I was gaining weight and was loosening them when I tried them on myself. But then I found out that it's actually my roommate who has been trying them out for a few hours when I wasn't home. I went really crazy at her. She basically ruined like 5 new sets of expensive clothes. They are so loose now because of her fat body. It all looks so ridiculous and uncomfortable in them as I'm much skinnier than her. Her excuse was that they looked so nice that she wanted to try them out, especially when she has a problem finding new clothes she can wear, her words. And I don't like it because she didn't tell me about it until I caught her myself. She said that she thought it was something so insignificant that she didn't need permission from me. Let's just say that things didn't go well, and I decided to get a lock for my closet, which offended her and got her on the defensive, especially when I called her fat, which she is. She is literally obese. She is 80 kilograms, 157 centimeters. Am I the a-hole? Note, I didn't insult her with fat. It wasn't an insult. It was just me telling her that our body sizes are very different, which is where I used the word fat to describe her body size, which it took as an insult and that offended her and got her on the defensive. Not the a-hole. It's your property. And not asking if they can try them on is a kind of invasion of privacy and a sanitary issue. Good luck with this roommate of yours, OP. Yes, I suppose it would be more diplomatic to phrase it as too big, but facts are still facts. Not the a-hole. The last thing I will do is be diplomatic if someone is stealing from me, and she very well knew what she was doing. Not the a-hole. Not sure why people are saying everyone sucks here. She literally ruined your clothes because she's bigger than you. Fat. That's the word. Could have you used different words? Yes. Agreed. I am fat. It is not a bad word. It is an accurate description of my body. I wouldn't put it on someone else's clothes at all. But I especially wouldn't do it when I knew that our difference in size would cause damage to the clothes. I agree with you. I have too much fat on my body, therefore I'm fat. I don't like being called fat. I don't think anyone does. But I wouldn't put myself in that position to anger someone by basically stealing, if only for a while, someone else's clothes and ruining them. Not the a-hole. Who tries on someone else's clothes, especially expensive clothes, without asking? It was mean to call her fat, but she has to know you're not the same size since she's been stretching out your clothing. You would have been better off explaining to her what happened and asking her to just buy them from you at that point because they can no longer fit you properly, before you go verbally insulting her and throwing locks on your closet door. You would have been better off explaining to her what happened. But why? The roommate is fat, not stupid. The roommate knows what happened. The roommate is the reason all of this happened. Next story. Am I the a-hole for my response when my boyfriend brought up the apartment purchase/ownership in front of his family? Context: I, female 29, have been with my boyfriend Adam, male 27, for 2.5 years. He's the quiet/shy type. It's very hard to get him to open up about what bothers him. And for now, I'm the one with an income. We get along easily, though he can be a bit unreasonable sometimes. Example, he doesn't cook because he's worried I won't like his food, but still cooks for himself, and it smells pretty telling that his cooking is good. Another example is that he doesn't do most chores, saying he's worried he might break/damage something. It's frustrating, but we're working on fixing it. Now on to the more complicated issue. I'd put money aside since 2015 to buy an apartment, and I'm finally able to get it done this year. When I told him this, he got agitated and said I should wait a little longer till we're married. But I said no. He started complaining about how bad he feels about seeing me buy the apartment myself without having him contribute. I asked what I was supposed to do because it kinda sounded like a he problem, no offense. But he got so worked up and gave me 2 options. 1 is I put his name on the title, and 2 is not buy the apartment till marriage so it'll become a shared marital asset. I said no and that was final and he should drop it. He did eventually. Then at his family's house, I was taken aback when he started complaining about the apartment, and again told me to either put his name on a title or wait till marriage to buy it, cause he feels like there's a huge power imbalance here, and that he can't bring himself to accept it. He also said that it makes him feel like he contributes nothing. I snapped and said, the reason you feel like you contribute nothing is because you literally contribute nothing, and I suggest you fix that by actually finding a job and having a decent income. His family looked shocked. He glanced at me, then got up and walked away. I waited for him to come back, but had to go home because his mom said he felt too overwhelmed and wanted some space. She then basically started shaming me for my statement and hinted about financial mistreatment and control over her son. He's not home yet, demanding another tell about the apartment, probably expecting me to agree to one option. Added in case it matters, he has a disability that limits his job opportunities. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. 1. Second paragraph sounds a lot like weaponized incompetence. 2. He brought it up in front of family to get mama to back him. 3. He sounds like a bit of a leech, to be honest. And 4. For what reason does he want his name on the title if he hasn't put money into it? The answer to 4 is so that he can break up with her, force the sale and get money out of it. He doesn't have a job, so that would be the only way he's getting any money. This. Take the apartment and lose the boyfriend. It will not get better. I won't clean as this is not my apartment. Why would I help move in your apartment? And for the next boyfriend, if he goes to the husband stage, keep your apartment on a prenup. In summation, my unemployed boyfriend, who does no housework, refuses to cook, only for me as he will happily cook for himself, and contributes nothing financially, expects me to give him half of my apartment. He wants this to be a marital asset because he wants to be able to take half of it freely when he walks away. Girl, you are not the a-hole. But why are you even in this relationship? I will seriously never understand these women who describe their men and there's not a single positive attribute to him. Like, girl, you clearly have cognition enough to realize your boyfriend does sweet nothing for you, so why are you with him? It comes down to the person thinking that having someone, anyone, is better than being alone. We've all been there at some point. I honestly do not know why Opie is with this guy though. He sounds like an absolute loser. Opie has her bar set on the floor. Not the a-hole. He's playing a con and he literally told you. He wants his name on the home or he wants you to marry him so he still legally gets the home as your husband. I suggest leaving before you purchase the home, so he has no legal claim at all. This guy's doing a marinara flag dance with his weaponized incompetence. Put my name on a property I gave zero money towards? Absolutely not. OP, you nailed it when you told him he contributes all of nothing to your relationship. Why on earth are you dragging this relationship out? That's not a relationship. He's basically demanding you adopt him. Not the a-hole. Being single with your own apartment is better than carrying the dead weight around for life. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my wife to help pay for private school despite separate finances? I have been married to Stella for 7 years now. Together, we have 5 children. Daughters from my previous relationship, Kira 11 and May 7. A son and daughter from Stella, Brianna 13 and Jaden 8. And a son together, Lucas 2. My 2 are 50-50 custody while my stepchildren only see their bio father every second weekend. My wife and I agreed to split finances and have mostly kept separate, aside from a joint account for essentials, bills, groceries, house, etc. We both used to be high earners, though had terrible hours. When our parental leave for Lucas was finishing, our children begged us not to go back to work, that they hated the before/after school care and wanted us. In the end, my wife went back but I quit and got a new job. It was much lower pay but essentially school hours, so I was able to be there for our kids. Stella has been paying more of our joint expenses, but otherwise has been fine. I wouldn't say the split has been firm though. I do buy stuff for my stepchildren or pay when I take them all out. It's more the big payments that are separate. Brianna goes to a private high school. I was talking about high schools to my sister since Kira is year 6 and realized that on my current pay, I won't be able to afford to send her with her sister. My ex is barely willing to pay the costs related to public school, let alone a private one. The school is so much better than the nearby public school, and I know Kira wants to go to her sister's school, so I try to talk to Stella and ask if she would be willing to help. It's education, and she's close with my daughters, so it's not like I'm asking her to pay for something crazy. Stella refused, and I would have accepted it even though I was annoyed. But then she went on saying that I knew we were split finances, and I made my choice when I took the lower pay job. That I got more time for less money, so I can't complain that I'm paid less. I got pretty upset about that. I didn't stay home for fun. It was for our family, our children. I loved my job, but I had to sacrifice it for them. It was worth it, of course, but still. Stella basically said that it was my decision, so tough luck that she's not going to finance me. I got angry with that and told her that she knew the consequences of her job, so she can deal with her children then. Her money won't be used on mine, so I won't use my extra time on hers. They can stay in care until our old hours. Stella got angry back, accusing me of using her for money and calling me a complete a-hole for suggesting what I did for my stepchildren. We argued pretty bad. She thinks I'm being greedy, selfish, and petty. But it's not like I'm asking to mooch. I would still foot 50% and get my ex to contribute as much as I can get her to. Yes, it was my choice. But it was for all the children, for our family. Besides, I literally take care of my stepchildren more than my own, 85% versus 50%. I'm not just being lazy or focusing on my own children. I've been there for them all. So I think it's frankly unfair for her to refuse to help even a little. But obviously she thinks I'm being an a-hole. Everyone sucks here, but you more. Like heavily leaning you're the a-hole. You needed to discuss this when you decided to cut your hours. It doesn't sound like the decision was in any way a mutual one made between you and your wife, but all you. Despite that, your wife has been willing to pay more for your shared expenses, which at least somewhat compensates for the extra childcare you were doing. For some reason, you waited until your kid was about to start high school to even think about where she'd go and how you'd afford it. You sprung on your wife that despite your prior agreements being different, you want her to pay tens of thousands in tuition she wasn't planning on. Also, no kid needs to go to private high school. Your daughter will be fine at a public school. I also assume you are not paying any of Brianna's tuition. So she's going to have to pay full tuition for her kids and half for yours. That's a ton of money. I don't know exactly what she makes, but she'd have to be incredibly wealthy for that to be chump change. Your wife also should have been more proactive about thinking through how all this would play out. You should have made a thorough and explicit agreement when you quit your job. This marriage sounds doomed, honestly. Never change jobs for less pay without considering all of the financial implications. Don't change jobs that will have lifestyle implications. Yep, money is way more important than your kids. This subs sometimes, I swear. Changing the lifestyle of a partnership that you wish to continue should be discussed as much as possible and agreed upon. Unilateral decisions make for short partnerships.